بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي امري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي اللهم لا علم لنا الا ما علمتنا انك انت العليم الحكيم. Alhamdulillah, we've come to the end of 2018 and we've started 2019, and time is racing by so quickly, and usually at the end of the year people they reflect, and then when the new year starts they set new year's resolutions, so they kind of look at what they've done that year and reflect upon it, and then they decide, well, you know what, I want to do things differently. Maybe I want to lose weight, maybe I need to focus some attention on my spirituality, maybe I want to do some other goals, achieve some other goals, maybe want to start studying again, whatever it is. But it comes usually at this time of the year, people reflect and they set New Year's resolutions. And so contemplation, I'm not sure about the authenticity of it, but they say that 1 hour of contemplation, which is tafakkur in Islam, it's called tafakkur, contemplation, 1 hour of that, there's like 1,000 nafal, it's equivalent to 1,000 nafal prayers. So what that actually means is that just reflecting and contemplating for 1 hour, it's so powerful, that practice, and there's so much reward in it. But what we think, often we think, what is reflection or what is contemplation? We think it's just thinking, we're thinking we're always thinking, but we're not always thinking. Mental activity, so for example, thinking about what we need to do on the weekend, or what shopping we need to buy, or which bill needs paying next, that's not contemplation, or that's not reflection. That's just mental activity. Contemplation is actually deep, penetrating thinking, spending some time in isolation, quietening your mind and actually really thinking about your life and reflecting. And it allows you to kind of reset that inner navigation system of yours. So in a way it can be compared to looking into the mirror and observing yourself. So we look in the mirror to observe ourselves, but this observation or contemplation is done on an inner level. It's done on a deeper level. So we're allowing ourselves to look inwards, and it gives us the opportunity to find out some deep truths about ourselves, and it allows us to ask some questions about what we have thought and what we are thinking and what we're going to think, what we have said, what we are saying, and what we are going to say. It allows us to think about what we've done, what we are doing, and what we are going to do. And it's both an art and it's a skill which can be practiced and it can be improved over time, so that we actually become conscious of something that we weren't conscious of before. And whether that's an ayah of the Quran, whether you look at an ayah of the Quran, and they always, you heard this, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says reflect on the ayahs of the Quran. Yeah? Take one ayah and just think long and deeply about it, and it will allow you greater wisdom than just mere surface thought. Okay? But our lives are so busy, aren't they? We're so we have all of these time-saving devices, but we're constantly busy, we're constantly running around like headless chickens. We're overworked, and oftentimes we kind of stuck in autopilot, like we're doing things unconsciously, we don't even think about it, and we're so disorientated and we're so confused, like we're going around in this confused state, and we're not actually stopping and reflecting. And we might have actually these burning questions in the back of our mind which we can't seem to answer them, about why are things the way they are, why do we keep attracting the same situations in our life, why do I keep having the same experiences over and over again, and why do I keep taking the same actions which I know I'm going to regret later on. So there might be these burning questions in the back of your head, and we're not stopping to ponder on them. we may wonder if we can truly be the person that we want to be, living the life that we want to live and having the experiences that we really desire. So for some time, we might actually be able to avoid answering these questions. But inevitably, sooner or later, they will confront us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He throws tests in our way to make us stop, to make us reflect. And those moments, they usually come when, some big shock happens to us, some trauma happens, or something happens that actually changes our life. So this is when we're actually forced to halt everything and think about ourselves. What's my nature? What's my purpose? Why am I here? And for me, 14th of January is the day that I gave birth to my beautiful son, Musa. But it's also the memory of it is etched into my being, into my consciousness, for a reason other than the obvious. Okay, yeah, I had a baby, but it was the day that took me on a journey of inner self-reflection and contemplation. It was the day that I faced my possible death. It was a horrifying experience that I had to undergo. But that life-threatening surgery actually changed me as a person, and many of you that know me will agree to that. So the weeks and the months after this experience were probably some of my darkest days, because it forced me on every level to stop. It forced me on an outer physical level, I couldn't function the same way, and it forced me on an inner level to stop. And I had to face some of the questions that were always on the back of my mind. I had these whispers in the back of my mind, these questions, these burning questions. But I was so busy in my life, I was so busy doing what I was doing that I didn't have time to contemplate on those questions. But last year was the year where I did contemplate. I was forced to contemplate because I was faced with my own death. So Alhamdulillah, it was looking back now, it was a necessary part of my journey. Alhamdulillah, I'm so grateful that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed me that experience that forced me to stop. And it had to be something that big for me to actually just stop. But it allowed me to, so it helped me both on a personal and a spiritual level, but it also gave me a set of guiding principles from which now that I live my life by. So those are the ones that I want to inshallah share with you. The first one is that take time to talk to people, to have deep, meaningful conversations with people and learn from their stories. They may have lived through certain experiences that can actually give us vital lessons for our life. So learning from these people can give us the knowledge that no school and no institute will ever teach us. The lives of other people demonstrate invaluable lessons which help to put our lives into perspectives, and the stories make other people and they help us to also understand their and our circumstances better. Number 2, appreciate what you have in every single moment of your life. We often get so focused in our problems, in our issues and our dramas of our life that we fail to see all the countless blessings that are being showered upon us in every single moment. We may have certain goals, we might have grand dreams and aspirations which we want to fulfill in our life, but what happens is we become so consumed and we get so wrapped up in trying to achieve these that we fail to enjoy the journey of life as we go along. So enjoy the journey as much as the destination. Number 3, give generously. So we often think that giving generously means that we have to dip into our pockets and give financially. But this is not the only way to give. There are countless ways. Get creative. There's countless ways for us to give. We can give of our time, our attention, our skill, our advice, our love, our smile, our humor, our care, to name but a few. So look for ways in which you can give, because like our Sheikh says, giving is living, yeah, and that's where you truly come alive when you actually start giving. And the last one, number 4, every now and then, pause and take the time to ask yourself one simple question: is my life meaningful? And if the answer to that question is no, then go and change something. Get to know what is really important to you. No one's life should be a sequence of wasted opportunities, so pursue your purpose and your passion. It is your responsibility to give your life 100% to whatever you're doing, because when you want to look back at your life, you want to be able to happily say, you know, Alhamdulillah, I gave it my best shot and I'm proud of what I was able to achieve in the world. So it's essential that we make time for contemplation. It's a necessary part of our life. It allows us the opportunity to stop for a moment from the hustle and bustle of worldly life and refocus and realign ourselves back with our values and what is really important in our life. Ultimately, to live a life on purpose, live a life the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has expected us, which is to our highest potential. He's created us as the best of His creation, and He's created us for success and excellence. So everything that we're doing, and we're doing it with excellence. We want to look back at our life and say, Alhamdulillah, I did everything with excellence, and whether that's bringing up your children, whether that's cleaning up the masjid, you know, whether that's cooking, everything should be done with excellence. So inshallah, if we can all try to reset our inner navigation towards success, and obviously all benefit is truly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Any mistakes are my own, and I hope you benefited from this. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, wa salamun ala al-mursaleen, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.